congrats on the film. It is amazing.
Thank you.
The special effects especially are like a game changer. When this film was done, were you just like, mic drop, I'm out, I've changed the special effects game for good?
I don't know. You don't know till people see it. And the fact of the matter is that the effects could be good or bad. If the story's bad, people don't connect with the movie, all of that gets quickly forgotten. So I think Pixar is a great example where they do some stellar technical work, but part of what they take pride in is maybe, for Toy Story, you get like one line saying, oh, the computer effects were amazing. Now let's talk about the movie. And it's about the emotion, it's about getting lost in it. So for me, I think what I'm most proud of is not just the work of the artist, but how the work of the artist and their fingerprints all disappear, and you could get immersed into this experience of going on this journey with this boy through the jungle. And that was the real promise. It was, can you create an environment and animals and forget that you're watching something that's so effects heavy?
Yeah. No, that's the thing. It was so immersive that, when you discover that the film was actually not filmed anywhere on location, it blows your mind. It's just you are in that world.
I was very proud of the people, the artists who did that.
Yeah, yeah. And the voice actors as well that you got on board this. Now, obviously Bill Murray voices Baloo. Yeah. And I've just got to ask, was there any, Bill being famous for being Bill Murray, were there any Bill Murray-esque moments? Like, did he turn up to recording in a golf cart one day, or
there were nothing but Bill Murray moments. It was. He delivers.
He delivers on the Murrayness.
Delivers. Well, first of all, you can't. It's not like you just pick up the phone and call Bill Murray.
Yeah.
There's a whole ritual, and you have to talk to people who've worked with him before and get, interpret the time frame and how to reach out to him. And I would send him letters And finally, when he reached back out to me, I was told by people who'd worked with him, said, "Oh, that's it. He's showing up."
Okay.
And no paperwork, all that. It's just the minor amount of discussion with his reps, and then you just kind of wait, and you show up, and you hope he's going to be there, because you don't send him a driver, you don't send him a ticket, he just shows up.
Yeah, right.
And he did. And well, in the first case, we went to him because he was out in Martha's Vineyard. Mm-hmm. And we went out there, and I brought Neil with me, the kid, Neil Setti, who plays Mowgli, and we recorded them together, and that was wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I happened to mention, as we were recording in one of our sessions, I said, look, we're going down to New Orleans to do some music. It might be fun you might get a kick out of recording, some of your stuff with them. Mm. He said, oh, cool, when is that? And I told him a date, and I went, and sure enough, he showed up. And there we were in New Orleans with Bill Murray, and Bill Murray, I told him, if you show up, I'll show you a good time, too. And so after we recorded, we went out and watched jazz. We went and saw some jazz shows, and we went around the different, we enjoyed seeing music played in some of the establishments there, and had a couple of drinks together, had a good meal at Emerald's place. So it was, it was a dream come true. I got to get the whole Bill Murray experience, and then watch how he interacted with people. And you've never seen somebody more beloved in your life than when you travel around with a guy like Bill Murray. Yeah,
yeah. He's a national treasure.
He is.
And speaking of national treasures, Christopher Walken as well.
Yes.
Talking about idiosyncratic actors who everyone just kind of worships, you got Christopher Walken in this.
He's great. And the other thing, too, is that because of the character he plays, we were able to design facial features that really allowed his performance to come through.
Yes.
And so we were inspired by his look, his eyes, his expression. And even though it's a Gigantopithecus, which is like an enormous, 12-foot-tall orangutan, if you look closely, you could see there's some of his, capture some of his spirit. And I tried to get him to perform as naturalistically as possible so that you got all of his rhythms. And, you wanted a character that was quirky and fun and interesting, but also menacing. And, he always has that unexpected rhythm to his performance, and you never know. You've seen him play enough dangerous characters. You don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah. And I like to imagine as well that when he was recording his lines, especially the song, that he was doing a bit of a Christopher Walken dance while recording. Can you
He wasn't doing. Unfortunately, we had to keep him close to the microphone. But I was very excited when he was doing Peter Pan. And he was working on that while we were doing the recording, so I was very happy to see him doing a little bit of hoofing on the set of Peter Pan. I don't know if it ever made it down here, but up in the States, it was a bit of a thing.
Yeah. No, I've just seen the odd film clip with him, like the Fatboy Slim film clip where.
Oh
he's
yeah,
dancing
we
and-
looked at that quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't know how much to include that, but he's a song and dance man from
yeah.
way back.
Yeah. He sure is. And tell me about the kid as well, because he's amazing. This kid, obviously acting against, animals that aren't really there in environments that aren't really there, and you, not for 1 second, do you get the sense this kid's kind of going, I'm in a movie. He's there.
Yeah, he really was, and we had the fortunate experience of him performing with most of the actors doing the voice recordings, and equally not intimidated by any of that. There he is with Bill Murray, there he is with Ben Kingsley, and holding his own, and they all got a kick out of him because he's a very genuine kid, smart kid. And then we finally got him, down to the set. We did some motion capture. We did a motion capture version for a few months. So by the time we actually hit the set, he'd done it twice. The third time doing it's when he's doing it in front of the cameras. And for that, we had puppets. We had Jim Henson Studios design puppets for him to perform with and to cast shadows and help us with our framing and things.
Right.
So sometimes he was working with real actors, sometimes he was working with puppets, sometimes he was working with me, sometimes I get in there.
Right.
But always to try to make it a game, to make it fun, to keep him engaged, because if I just gave him an X as an eye line to perform with, it's a lot to ask of a 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And in terms of the Jim Henson puppets as well, because that already sounds amazingly cool as well.
Yeah.
How elaborate were those puppets? Were they kind of like fully? Were they very?
They varied. Sometimes you have somebody completely in a blue suit, and they would just pop little eyes onto their fingers and create a puppet this way.
Right.
And it's amazing how much life a good puppeteer could bring into just using their hand. Sometimes we had a full, like in some cases, we had a full puppet of Baloo, life size, that 2 people had to operate, that would walk next to Mowgli, and that would help us because it would create a shadow onto him. And that's a big part of selling the effects, is to not add shadows later. So we had to commit pretty early to where the creatures that cast the shadows would be. Sometimes we would project the shadows, sometimes we would use techniques like used in Gravity, where they use LED panels, and sometimes we actually use lights and puppets.
Yeah, very cool. And obviously this being a Disney film, as a bit of a segue, Star Wars, obviously owned by Disney.
Yes.
This is more a question. A request more than a question. Can you please make a Star Wars film? Because I think you'd be really good at it.
I'm very excited. I spoke to JJ, who was not just pleased with how everything went, but also the new wave of filmmakers that are coming in. Very exciting stuff, and I'm a fan first and foremost, and so excited. I was amazed at how excited I was by the new storylines, by the new characters.
Yeah.
I knew I'd love to see the Millennium Falcon again, or Harrison, but to see the new characters and to be engaged, and I think it's going to be really exciting to see what rolls out. They are very elaborate undertakings.
Yes.
And you have to really understand the rule system. And JJ, there's nobody who understood Star Wars or was more of a fan than him. So I love that there's this new set of films coming out. And I'm honestly as excited to see what this next round of films is going to be, because I think that's going to determine the direction of where everything's going as much as Episode 7 did.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting. And then, of course, 8, which is, I don't know, the way the last one left off. So it's, to me, it's really, I still have the fanboy excitement to see what's going on.
Right.
And I although I visited the set of Episode 7, I don't want to know anything about any of them, because I want to see them fresh.
As a fan.
As a fan.
Yeah. But there are standalone films as well, so,
Yeah,
you might be able
could be.
I
think there's a lot of exciting ideas. I'm very curious to see what happens with Rogue One and how they treat Darth Vader there.
Yes.
And how that fits into the timeline.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think that there's a lot of interest in that character, and it doesn't, and there's no other place to fit that character in.
Yes.
But I want to know, people are connected to that image, that archetype.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to see how they handle Vader.
Totally. One last question for you. This is a bit of a general one to put you on the spot, but is there one particular movie moment that you would list as your favourite that comes to mind as like your favourite ever film moment?
Ever. In any movie.
In any movie.
I've been watching a lot of the Kurosawa stuff lately. I don't know why. I've been sort of looking at it, even like online. And as a filmmaker, the there was a rhythm to. There was a scene. I think it's in Sanjuro. I'm not sure which one it is, where there's a standoff between two samurai, and they're talking to each other, and just holding it, one shot, no cuts, waiting, and in a flash of an eye, they both pull their swords out, one beats the other one, and one strike, it's over. The fight's over, and everybody reacts, and the one guy falls. The way that Kurosawa played with rhythm is so interesting to me as a filmmaker. It's always look at the masters, so I love looking at Kurosawa's work, and I love looking at Buster Keaton's work for much of the same reason, because you could learn. They're creating a language that we're still drawing from today.
Yeah.
But to me, the sword fights, and I could pick any one of them from the samurai films, is still. I love. Anytime they're being shown, I go to the big screen to see them again.
Yeah. And there's not much of a leap from samurai swords to lightsabers as well.
No, there's not. That's what I like about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that the more the Star Wars stuff feels like it resonates with the samurai movies, the more excited I get by them.
Very good. All right. Well, we have to wrap up, but thank you for your time.
Cheers.
Great chatting today.
Thank you.
All right.